Go. Well, hello, everyone. How are you doing? It is Thursday. We're all here. Good to see you as well. I am actually 30 seconds ahead of you. Time travel is real, just a matter of your perspective. So, hello. How is everybody? Hello, Warrior Queen. How are you doing? Heidi, Lisa C. Good to see you. Jamie, Asuro, Lapis, how are you doing? Dave, how you doing? Flower, Sarah K, hello. Eric, Robin. So, Peter, good to see y'all. How's it going? Beautiful day here in the Front Range. Going to get warm, and then, folks, I'm just going to let this out there. Well, first, let me just invoke favor upon you. I'm talking about you specifically. If I was there, I'd just simply, give you a big hug and just say, man, favor's all over you. So favor, I invoke favor upon you. Nothing missing, nothing broken, right? That which has been stolen, be it returned to you sevenfold. Think about it. If not by your actions, etc., let's just use a hypothetical. And let's say you had a year of your life stolen from you. 7 years is not bad, to say that, I got that much more runway. That's kind of a cool thing, the way I look at it. Hello, Patrick. How are you doing? Cheesesteak, good to see you. Brad White. So, man, y'all have been sending in some of the most remarkable pictures. So I've got to show these pictures because, well, I'll let them speak for themselves. So I am going to pull up the first set. And this is from Kara. I believe Kara lives in Florida. And folks, check this out. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on, man. What's up with this? And, it's not one. By the way, Kara, great shots. Just look at this. I mean, what? Did the control not work? And yeah, I mean, you got to admit that's cool, but you think that it couldn't get any better? They're doing double donuts in the skies. I mean, that had just to be amusing. Thank you for sending in the pictures. Is that just crazy? I mean, I don't know. So do we have the infinity signal symbol here? I'm trying to figure out what this pilot was doing. And you know what? I bet you, and I don't know, maybe you folks, in fact, I do know because of the one air base down there that does have, or allegedly has, a squadron of the TR-3Bs. And who knows, they're probably on D by now. So great shot. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is some really cool stuff, you have to admit. Now, it's not over. Got a video that Chelsea Rose sent in, and I'll just let you guys make your own assessment for it. What I'm looking for is her video, and I do have it here. And I have another video sent in from, well, in fact, let me pull this one up first. This one, I believe, is from, I think, therefore I am, Australia, I think. Yeah, I know. We'd go in a song on that one. So here, check this one out, folks. So tornado, and I have to remember where this is because it was very unusual um, that they had a tornado hitting this region. I have a brother that lives up in Washington, and his area was hit with a tornado the other day, which virtually hits in Washington State. So, yeah, go figure that. So, let me pull up. Oh, here's one, another one. I think you guys will really enjoy. So, they're having some very unusual weather down under. And let me share this one with you. It's one thing about Zoom. If they don't even make it to where you could do a split screen, that'd be cool. Anyway, here we go. That's what you call a wall cloud. Yeah, very strange. Got more, folks. That's not all. I have these not in a folder. So if I did, I would have been able to pull it up much quicker, but it's okay. Um, these are cool things. So, Chelsea, that was really cool. And I got your video here, hon. It's just going to take me a second to find it. I know, folks, just talk amongst yourselves and, hey, have another cup of coffee and, enjoy the winter solstice that happens tomorrow. Here for me, it's about 3:26, I think. And you know what? I know I have this video and I am not going to leave until I find it because, Chelsea, what you caught was very unusual, I have to admit. Certainly gives some credence to what they're doing up there. Here it is. I knew I'd find it. So, hey, y'all, check this out. Tell me if you believe in the two sun anomaly. This is a video that, Chelsea, I think if you're watching, I think this was yesterday. Mm-hmm. Now, that's a sun dog. That's a heck of a sun dog. Look at that, folks. So you tell me what's going on here. Let's just stop this and analyze this. You can talk about light refraction. You can talk about bending light. You can talk about bouncing off the atmosphere. You can talk about, even cloud diffusion of the light of the sun. But I got to tell you what, you look at this, and we're going to have Chelsea on the 27th of December. You tell me. Excellent, excellent capture. I'm going to, if you don't mind, Chelsea, I want to send this over to some other channels so they can see. This is good stuff, girl. So anyway, oh, excuse me. I forgot to stop it. So anyway, let me get back to where I was here. Here I be. So wild, huh? Yeah. So all over, getting stories from Norway, lots of stories from folks down in the Southern Hemisphere. We're catching it here. So, yeah, lot of interesting stuff. Now, before we get into our subject, because I think you're going to find this very, very interesting. Don't you always like it when someone puts that in there? Very. Well, okay, how much is very? Well, very is a lot. So, folks, I just want to, this is null school. What you're seeing here is the polar vortex. Now, normally, the vortex, and you can see this is the North Pole right here. You folks over in England, the reason why you're cold is you can see that the greater extent of the vortex is hitting you. But here is the ominous thing, and it looks like it's doing it. And if it does this, folks, all of us in North America, get ready. January may be a January we won't forget. February as well. If this sets up to this double vortex that you can now see, it clearly is, and you've got two low pressures forming here. So I don't know if this is what's going on down here. I have never seen this before. I have seen a split vortex. They do happen, but we know what happens when they do. I'll put it over on the side. So as you can see, this is why Europe going up here, and look what it's doing over here as well. Do you see what's happening? Our atmosphere, folks, is just changing, and it's setting it up for some really substantial changes. All I can say, we'll watch this in the next weeks to come. If this does begin to form, it'll start forming within the next 10 days. And oh my. And in fact, Fox News, other news outlets are saying exactly, polar vortex may be on the horizon. Scientists warn. Listen, go back and look at my archives. I told everyone back in October that things were looking, it could become very cold. But here tomorrow, it's going to be 20 degrees above normal. But I got a sense that it's going to kick our ever-loving butts. Hey, all of you that have Alexa in your homes, yeah, don't know why, but a lot of people do. Remember, with technology, there is no privacy. The only privacy I think you could have is if back in the day when I worked construction, I actually was a union drywall finisher way back in the day. And we had to go through security, but we worked in a top secret map reading facility for the military. And due to new technologies, they were having to build new safe rooms where they could literally do their analysis without prying eyes. And what was so interesting was the steps that the government took back then to shield all the occupants and photographic electronic evidence. And I can't go into it, but yeah, it's one that I think of, and again, I digress. So let me just stop right here because I want to kind of get into the theme of what we're going to be dealing with today. And this is one I don't think you may have thought about. I didn't think about this until it was sent to me of some information. So great videos to one and all. If I didn't mention your names, because I didn't think I had permission to. So the other thing I'm getting is the number of testimonies. Still a lot of people missing time. Other emails of confirmation. Remember the one I did on Monday on the trances? Wow. I mean, a lot of emails of stories. I'm telling you, I had to write a book on some of this because they would, yeah, Hollywood would love it. You know, it's like, hey, we want some of that action. So, yeah, we got the proverbial thumbs down. We didn't love that person, surround him with favor. So, what happened? Do we remember that fateful August 1945? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, talking about the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We all know the thing that happened. We found the ability to split the atom, and this is something that I think you're going to be finding it's very interesting. So I'm going to pull a video up, and as I pull it up, this is from Fact Reality, has a YouTube channel. Check them out. This is from the archives of, and let me get you guys pulled in. It isn't any good if I'm the only one watching it. The rest of you are going, hey, buddy, what about us? All right, I think you've got that now. So here we go. So let me give you a little background. There was a lot that we discovered when we exploded the first atomic bomb. Now, we saw the physical effects immediately. We saw the secondary effects, which is the blast, the intense heat, and then we saw what we would call the third part of that, which is the radiation, the unseen part. Now, we were foolish back then. I have some other video that we just didn't know. So what you see right here in front of you is the largest single explosion that happened. Now, a little background on this. This video is the premise of my thesis that I'm going to present to you today. I set this as the foundation to, again, a theory, an idea. This explosion just about destroyed Earth. It was so powerful that we were literally, as the scientists said, milliseconds away from something they could not have imagined. And most of them were very grateful. A lot of them died prematurely of cardiac problems, as you can imagine. But this is the H-bomb that went off. So let's watch this. It is detonated in the atmosphere. And you can see all the dignitaries. It's a second sun, folks. Any way you look at it, you can see how the explosion happened. Watch the intensity. This is one of the best films I have found. Look at there is so much going on. We just see the atmospheric effects. This bomb, by the way, just about ripped Earth, they say, asunder. I contend it did more than what they have any idea about. And as you continue to see this awesome display of power, And you can just see the devastation. See, I contend something else happened. Look into the heavens. Let me just stop this thing. I just want to stop it right here. There is some things going on up here I'd never noticed before. And then you can also see what's moving in here. Walk with me on this. We know that the spiritual realm exists. We know that sentient life, whether seen or unseen, exists as well. And if they exist in this plane or share this plane, whether they be multidimensional, interdimensional, whatever the case may be, and if there is in fact sentient intelligent life of other species besides Homo sapiens in the universe, these type of events get noticed very quickly. Now, we were but children. I was born in 1955. So this event here, I don't know. I contend it did something, folks, in the ether realm. I'm saying it did something even in the dimensional realm. Do you know how many nuclear test bombs have been exploded? 2056. Now let's continue to watch this. 2056. Look at what's being done here. The bomb hasn't even reached here, but you can see it's having huge effect. I swear, if we could see in a much more of a spectral photography into the dimensions, I tell you, I think we would be seeing huge changes in these other realms. That looks definitely like a fire then. I guess something is on fire over there. I don't know what, because I don't think the effect of the bomb has hit here yet. It's still coming. Let's give it well, I guess. Did you see that as well? There we go. Anyway. So the point being to all this, we don't know what happened in the realm of the ether realm. Now, Britain did the same thing. Britain put their people exposed to it. So I'm postulating for this conversation that out of these explosions, something else was learned. Now, I found it really odd when I was doing the research on this that most of the test sites, they said, were in lands of indigenous people and far from the capitals of the testing governments. Isn't that wonderful? 528 of the 2056 were detonated in the atmosphere, which spread radioactivity materials around the world. Many underground nuclear blasts have also vented radioactive material into the atmosphere and left radioactive contamination in the soil and other, obviously, displacement in the mantle that we can't see. These bombs that were exploded underground sent tremendous shock waves through the whole earth. I think I read one white paper that was talking about that we're just now maybe fully recognizing how much damage was done. We're beginning to understand frequencies, harmonies. These are the things that we're learning. So these repeated testing, I contend, tore a rip in the fabric of time and space and was the first leak of beginning to alter what we call reality. Now think about this. When you begin to think about how we change, how we look for new elements, new particles. By the way, one of the, and I forgot your name, so forgive me, but they did a wonderful, I tell you, I want to get this, and I want to actually get it done on a shirt and a t-shirt. So invoke favor, folks. I'll share this because they shared it with me and they'd like it to be shared everywhere. And just send me your name again and I'll get it out. So very cool. All right. So this is where I contend it first began. Now, what we did not understand, because scientists were still experimenting with what this was doing. I contend it tore the firmament. And that firmament that our ancestors knew that contained, I still believe, probably elements that we have no idea. I found that this cartoon was great. Most aliens come to Earth in spaceships, but no, you have to tear a hole in the fabric of space-time. It's a cartoon. However, it brings out the whole point that if space-time exists, which it does, gravity exists. We know Einstein proved that gravity can be bent. Time as well. So I contend things are not as they appear. This is a still from a gentleman. I'm going to put it up on his channel. It's his channel, his video. He shot this. He did a time lapse of the sun, and I'll put the video up because it was just. I actually put it in my favorites. So, as he says, this is the camera looking backwards. And it shouldn't have. No way it could have. And look at the distortions that it's having. Now, it continued. I swear that he captured something of a major glitch. The sun was changing. It was yellow, and then it turned white. Just really bizarro stuff. So I postulate that the repeating testing tore a rip in the fabric of time space and began to alter, slowly at first, our reality. Scientists began to first notice the change when they examined the bodies. Unfortunately, they didn't have any bodies, but the shadows of, well, you're going to see here in a second. So this is not, as I looked into this, this has gone beyond simple hypothesis. There's some real science, and may I just say, much conjecture, that they discovered something else in these tests they were doing, something they didn't tell the world about. And it began to have a dilation effect on time. Yes, time. Time we began to see, and I think it aided a lot in Einstein's theories. He would have had access to the information. Now you can see where he came up, particularly when he was living in Oak Ridge, what he was getting information from. Folks, I contend this rip, this tear, started 50 plus years ago. And I think this is what we're experiencing now. It's getting worse. So I want to bring this into the equation because this all has something to do with what this tear is having the effect upon us. I think it's altered everything. I look forward to when Patrick and I get together again to ask the planets about this. But this is, by the way, the transition of the soul from a person who was alive to a person who was deceased. If our souls, our spirits, are of energy, then energy would be affected by another causality of energy. It'd be like having a greater explosion, you know. It'd be the equivalency of having a match to an ounce of C4. All of its energy, just different degrees. What you're looking at here, ladies and gentlemen, is what the U.S. military found that horrified the scientist. That didn't do the soldiers much good either. It horrified the Japanese because this was the first time something like this had ever been witnessed. These are living souls, people that were burnt into the background. Now, this has a lot of implications, not just merely the physics, the science. What we could never have imagined is that a shadow, the essence of a living organism, would be imprinted into an inert object. They didn't have time, I guess, to discuss the merits on a philosophical, spiritual, I don't know, soul basis. It was war. It ended a means by the leaders of that day quickly for the suffering of millions of people worldwide. But yet, something changed with us, our world. From what we saw that took place when these devices were exploded, I think still today, on a metaphysical level, have not been answered. I'm attempting to add my essence to what I believe has happened. Look at this, folks. This is absolutely incredible. It's incredible for several reasons. There is so much taking place here in a millisecond of time. These were living, sentient beings. And you can see in the difference of how their essence impacted their surroundings. We've seen now where the spirit actually leaves the body. My question to this: what did this change? I contend it ripped something that has never been fixed. Just my theory? But yet, you cannot help but think, was the essence of these people's very souls in a flash transmuted, transferred to the essence of that around them? There is a theory that says that these people, in one sense, and hear me out on this changed death. I know it sounds bizarre. This changed death. It's called, are you ready for this? Spectral energy transference. We can measure it. We can photograph it. The question now becomes, did something fundamentally change where death is concerned with this rip? This is from one of my videos. It's a horrific thing, but it's the point where we see the essence of a person. We can understand inanimate objects. It's the organic ones that still confuse us. I contend, folks, the government's learned something. And I'm going to be going more in depth on this in my show tonight over on the Artists First Network. But I wanted to give you the essence of what I'm talking about. So follow me on this. It was recorded that in the immediate blast zone of any atomic or hydrogen explosion, scientists were able to measure temporal time-space distortions were witnessed. I have no doubt at all, that these distortions were also noticed by the Soviets. It is rumored that the Soviets began entire testing of nuclear weapons with this as the focal point, and live humans were used in these experiments. It is rumored that the United States, when learned about the Soviet experiments, began in haste to catch up, and the first example was the USS Eldridge in Philadelphia Harbor. I kid you not. They've known about this. Spectral energy transference. We've known about this, I think, intuitively, instinctively. I just never termed it spectral energy. Now understand, they were splitting molecules, the atom. Imagine the energy essence of a spirit or soul, whatever you want to call it. Imagine if you could capture that energy. Imagine if you began to understand that energy, because that energy doesn't correlate to the natural laws of this physical plane. You starting to see where I'm going with this? it became known that time could be altered in different space. Different space. They knew back then. They began to figure it out by accident. And most likely, this new spectral energy led to a new testing of weapons of mass destruction, whereas energy could be depleted in a living organism and instantly could be captured and be used as a new super source of energy. What the hell you think of that now? You know, remember the neutron bomb back in the Reagan era, the Star Wars era? Remember, it was hypothesized that this neutron bomb could be exploded and it would not damage any of the infrastructure, would just simply take out all living organism. Are you starting to connect the dots here? Now, I don't know if the neutron was just a, red herring, a distraction, but the fact that they let it out. In my research, as I was going back, this began to get real spooky. I'm talking really spooky. I mean, imagine if a government truly began to understand spatial, temporal, time displacement. It's a game changer. I contend a device could detonate, removing only living things, and that energy channeled into a containment chamber. I mean, you would know the particles. You would know it has to have a unique identifier, this spectral energy. Imagine if you harvested 7 billion at one time. You're talking energy beyond our comprehension. And imagine what you could begin to do with that spectral energy on the ethereal plane. Could it be this is where we're seeing the continued distortions we call the Mandela effect? Could it be that this is why we're finding missing time becoming more frequent? Could it be that this is why we're finding more and more missing people? Are they harvesting us in a fashion now that they can extract this spectral energy? Folks, this goes beyond Hinduism, Buddhism, goes against all beyond any religion. I don't even think God could do this if such a God existed. Imagine knowledge of an energy, a particle that could be harvested, manipulated, channeled. Folks, the primary problem is that this has a causality effect that was not fully understood in the beginning, and that it is simply this: the dead are not dead as we thought and were taught of what being dead meant. When this rip took place in the ethereal plane, and I think it had a cascading effect. That every spectral energy that normally would go through this transition, I think, has been interrupted. It's just my theory, my hypothesis, that dead is no longer dead as we see it or have known it. With the advancement now of artificial intelligence, the continuation of transhumanism, I contend, ladies and gentlemen, that when we die, it's not going to be the type of death that we were thinking. Now, I don't know how many of us know what death really is. But it's obvious when you begin to contemplate the idea of even a theory of a neutron bomb. And I'm sure that those scientists, I can imagine that the U.S. military just had to have freaked their ass out when they saw that. I mean, how does a living being get burnt into solid rock? It's tremendous power. And if you think a new weapon of mass destruction that uses advanced technology encompassing unknown spectral electromagnetic particles that is then converted into some ultra supersonic light waves, utilizing waves in all known and unknown spectrums, frequencies, and harmonics. You're talking the ultimate mind control here. I mean, if there was a hell, this would be the definition of a hell. What was not known was that the very first splitting of the atom sent waves, then subsequent frequencies, which began to alter particles in the ether realm. And as it began to reverberate into other dimensions, these vibrations were not of those dimensions and impacted those other realities of which we are still unsure of how much the damage has been caused. Think about it. And folks, I contend this rip, this tear, is two-way. I don't think it's just one. And God help us if this is what I am seeing, that this rip is having a domino effect, ripping the very fabrics of other dimensions. Maybe that's why the D-Wave found it so easy into these other dimensions. It was already open. Now, this is heavy, I know, but it has to begin to answer some things here. And folks, again, tune in tonight because there's 2 or 3 pages yet of bringing what is just around us. The exploitation of spirit energy, soul energy. Again, the term spectral energy, think about this. And I never understood until I really began to dig deeper into this. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Walk with me again on this. It's an energy that immerses itself into a field of energy. It has similarities of properties. It's why it can do the coexistence. But the spectral energy is unlike any other energy around. It may be, in fact, what is the essence of life. Now, imagine another human another species, another deity, getting wind that we somehow made this discovery. And the thing that freaked my ass out, just to be very candid with you, is that even if the possibility, if my mind can think it, then some cat that's got the lab, the instruments, the algorithms, has to be doing this already. And we don't hear anything. I went around. You're not going to find a term called spectral energy. I made it up because it's the only thing I could see that would correlate to what they're doing. Energy of the spirit. I mean, folks, you harness that. You are God, in a sense. And I don't know the full implications. You know, I've spent hours writing all this. But it's the only answer I can come up with. I mean, yeah, there's a plethora of answers out there, plethora of different ideas, but it just got me thinking, wait a minute. The Chinese are desperately, and I'm sure probably every other government is, DARPA's probably knee deep into it as well, of photographing and capturing the essence of the soul, the spirit. I began to say, now why? Why are they wanting the ability to distinguish physical energy to spectral energy? There's something more here. I mean, you ever been in love so much that it hurt that you wanted to absolutely just meld yourself to the essence of that other person? I think that's where we're getting close to. I think we're getting close to that moment of what a human experiences in climatic sex. I think it's so much more intense than that. But I contend that that's exactly what they've done. And, again, it's just my cockamamie theory, but I think that there's good foundation to it. I really do. So, yeah. So tomorrow night, Dr. Richard Allen Miller. It's going to be a fun time. Make sure to get over there and check out Doc Ram's website. And our New Year's Eve show is turning to be quite a list of panelists. I think we're going to have a great deal of fun on this. And, think about what I have here. Tune in tonight. I'll finish this up. I'm running out of time now. If you are so inclined, you want to hear my conclusions, I'll give those tonight over in the artistfirst.com network, but on the Steiger Perspective. But folks, I think there's good foundation to this. And this, I think, can aid us in understanding if they can identify this spectral energy, and if they can actually capture it, contain it. It occurred to me, you could have one person that could change a whole destiny of a world. I mean, it's a kind of energy we don't have any idea about. Listen, if it's the kind of energy that generates life, sentient thought, cognitive reasoning, holy shit, can you imagine that? I mean, seriously. Whoa. All right. Well, you beautiful people, thank you for being in my life. You've enriched me with your presence. And, I just speak favor over every one of you. It's, folks, this is a message of tremendous hope. They may have altered death itself. They may have altered and somehow the transmutation from one plane to the other. They may have the ability to suck it out of us. I think it was the wraith that were able to do that. Imagine if our group got our spectral energies, and can you imagine what that would do? Adding it to the crystals. I mean, I'm beginning to see that, 1,000 thoughts a minute. So I'll leave it that way. But anyway, thank you so much, folks. It's fun. It really is. I'll see you tomorrow at noon. We'll wrap this up, kind of discuss it. And in the interim, enjoy the season, folks. Love yourself. Love those around you. Even in the times when it can get stressful, when family and friends come together, just look into their eyes and just realize that you're enjoying their essence right now for that moment. Add it to yours. You share yours with theirs. And folks, I think that makes the holidays a little bit more happier. All right, folks. People say I cut myself off all the time. So what I'm going to do is do a freeze frame of my face and go out. Thank you all the moderators. Thank you all for tuning in. Moderators, you guys are great. Thank you all. I would, again, I can't run fast enough to Beautiful Warrior Goddess. That's a cool one. I like that. Dennis and Odie and Caroline and Legend, all the rest of you, Sabrina Plower, thank you. You guys are the best. Ladies, y'all are the most gracious of all. Your presence just adds so much more. It gives all us guys legitimacy for being here. So thank you, ladies. Thank you for just your presence and for teaching us guys. Well, you do. All right, folks, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Be good. I'm going to do the freeze frame. All right, bye-bye.